On the night of July 29th, the government tribal hostel in the rural village of Doma was quiet. Hundreds of young students were asleep in their dormitories. The silence broke when a teenage girl woke up in the dark. Echoing down the corridor, she heard the distinct, rhythmic jingling of silver anklets. The sound triggered an immediate physical reaction. She began to cry violently, but when roommates rushed over to help, her sobbing abruptly shifted into a manic, piercing laughter. The laughter continued until the girl lost consciousness, collapsing on the floor while her friends tried to comfort her. This unexplained sensory trigger shattered the psychological safety of the dormitory. Within hours, the terror inside that room began to spill out into the surrounding villages. Within days of that first incident, the same behavior spread to nearly 20 other girls across the hostel. The symptoms grew more bizarre. Girls suffered spontaneous fainting spells, or would sit perfectly still for hours, staring blankly at food they refused to eat. As word of the crisis reached the surrounding tribal communities, parents rushed to the school gates to pull their children out of the facility. Of the 852 students enrolled, more than 600 hastily packed their bags and abandoned the hostel, leaving the campus virtually empty. Local families were convinced they were witnessing a demonic possession. Meanwhile, medical investigators arriving at the scene began documenting a localized psychological breakdown. Determining what actually emptied this campus requires looking past the supernatural rumors to investigate the specific mechanics of the human mind. The timeline of the panic traces back 50 kilometers to a village called Ektai. A woman there claimed she saw a supernatural shadow manifesting in the village. Shortly after, she exhibited the same uncontrollable crying and laughing observed at the school, an episode witnessed by one of the hostel students. That student carried the memory of that encounter back to the isolated dormitory, providing a specific cultural template for the fear that followed. As the girls fell ill, environmental rumors took hold. Villagers suggested the cutting of a sacred mo tree on campus had invited a curse, or that a nearby drainage ditch had angered local deities. More specific supernatural theories followed, including stories of a restless spirit and a legendary illusion-casting witch known as the Chakwa. Fearing these entities, many families bypassed modern hospitals. They took their daughters to bumkas, traditional tribal healers, for rituals and spiritual protection. In the absence of immediate scientific explanations, deep-rooted cultural superstitions provided the only framework the community had to explain the unexplainable. While the campus remained silent, medical teams and anti-superstition activists arrived to conduct a formal investigation. Investigators found the hostel rooms were severely overcrowded, with poor ventilation trapping a growing anxiety. Doctors interviewed the affected girls, recording symptoms that went far beyond fear, including memory loss, loss of appetite, and intense bouts of unexplainable sadness. These clinical assessments led the medical team to classify the event as a localized outbreak of mass hysteria. This diagram shows how chronic environmental stress and specific cultural fears can overwhelm the brain's ability to process its surroundings. When the brain cannot manage that combined pressure, it triggers a defense mechanism called conversion disorder. This results in dissociative symptoms, where the mind disconnects the person from reality. This psychological disconnect produces the involuntary laughter, memory loss, and even phantom sensory experiences, like the sound of jingling anklets, reported by the students. Survival mechanisms in the human brain drove the evacuation of the campus. These physical symptoms emerge when the mind's internal stress threshold is breached, forcing a physical reaction to a psychological overload. Understanding the origin of the stress explains the first girl's reaction, but it doesn't immediately explain how it jumped to 20 others. In enclosed, high-stress environments, trauma can become a contagion. Merely observing a traumatic breakdown in someone else is often enough to trigger the exact same physical response in a healthy person. Today, teachers are traveling to different villages to counsel parents, using medical facts to replace the supernatural rumors that emptied the school. Students are slowly trickling back, but the impact of the panic remains. Many girls now attend their classes during the day, but refuse to sleep in the hostel rooms at night. The Amaravati incident demonstrates that the human mind can translate internal stress and cultural stories into a physical crisis. When isolation and fear combine, the brain is capable of turning a psychological breakdown into a collective reality.